All right, welcome to Leafs Talk. It's me, Justin Bourne, joined by a wayward hitchhiker that I have contracted out to be with me tonight. Look at that duster. How's it going, Sammy?
Oh, I'm great, bro. I'm great.
It's
Thank
not
you.
bad. It kind of works for you. I don't hate the mustache.
Thank you. I'm really happy about it right now. I had to meet my wife halfway. She doesn't think I'm a good-looking person when I go down to the wood, so I met her halfway. So I kept the upper lip covered, but I wanted to get the chin exposed. My beard was out of control. It was bothering me, so I decided to take it off. So we met halfway.
It's just hard to imagine a scenario where a woman sees you and
Prefers
says that's
this?
better than whatever the other. Listen, you're a handsome guy. You got a lot of looks. I don't know if that's the top one or two, but
well, we'll see. I'm not going to do a goatee. I'm not going to do a chin tee. I'm not going to do mutton chops. So like my options, I've just gone to the mustache. So
I could do a mean duster. We might have to do a duster show at some time.
Yeah, do one. I mean, you're handsome enough. You can pull off a duster.
I don't know. It's a small crowd. You're doing pretty darn good there, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So the Leafs win 3-0 over the Columbus Blue Jackets. When you're deeper in the playoffs and important games, you say stuff like, yeah, but this isn't game 53 against Columbus or something, because that's how unimportant these throwaway games. To me, that was a tough watch tonight, Sammy.
Yeah. The attention was incredibly hard to keep, I would say.
John Tory was announcing his resignation.
Yeah. That press conference was 10 times more compelling than any moment of this Leaf game tonight. Let's just say that. Listen, they took care of business. I think it was a theme that we chatted about today on Real Kipper and Bourne in terms of them going into these games and them having the tendency to crap the bed against these sort of teams. Yeah. And they came out of a long break and they played way better than Columbus and treated them like an AHL team that they look like. So I'm going to give them credit for that. Nice to see Tavares get some points. So yeah, like they easily could have dogged this first road game after how long have they been off? A week and 3 days, like
forever. And then after this, they play once in the next 8 days or after tomorrow night.
So yeah, they play tomorrow against this team again. Wednesday, Chicago, thrilling. Following Saturday, Habs. Good luck. We got to come up with some narratives, pal, because boy, oh boy.
Well, what is hard, though, is it's going to be hard to assess the team as you head towards the trade deadline. It's when your most average players thrive is when you're playing teams like Columbus. And, Engvall looked really good tonight, and I don't know that that's always the case when you see Boston and Tampa Bay and those sorts of teams, but all I know is the moment that defined the night. First off, I can't believe you let me just have my laundry in the background.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice.
Second, though, the moment that defined how that game went tonight for me was Korpisalo stopping a breakaway in the third period and just being like, what are we doing? Like, that's like the 10th breakaway I've had to stop. Help. Columbus was just awful.
So you talked about with Portsline today about how he's kind of preventing their tank. If that was a bad goalie, that's a 9-0 game. The amount of grade A chances that they had, the breakaways, the odd man rushes, he was scrambling around, he was swimming around, no doubt, but he kept the puck out of the net on a lot of chances. So if we can focus in now, I guess, on Columbus, what number does Johnny Gaudreau wear?
13, I believe. Is it
okay?
Not him that just turned it over.
How much did they pay him?
Several millions. Per?
Did Gord Miller call his name tonight?
I don't know. I don't know if he called his name aside from a turnover. And I think I know where you're going next, which is Patrick Laine. Roll call.
I don't understand. I know, God, it's got to be hard to get up for these games if you're these guys who are cajillionaires. And it's I am rich no matter the outcome of this game. And I'd like to play golf this summer. So maybe I'm not going to play as hard as I possibly can. But have a bit of pride, man. Laine was awful. And this guy used to be a premier sniper guy that create off the rush.
What did he score? 44 goals as a 21-year-old?
He was unbelievable his first couple of years. And he just is not noticeable. It just seems like his level is low. How many toe drags he tried tonight that just got immediately poke check. Our boy Anthony Petrelli was texting me being like, how many toe drags is Line going to do tonight?
And there's almost this thing that happens, I think, when you're on a bad team and you don't think that anyone's real great around you, is you call your own number, right? You're like, I'll just have to do this myself, because there's a chance in the third period where Columbus got a break, and Matthew Olivier had the chance and shot it, into a nice save by Samsonov. But it's like, that's not Braden Point. And, when it comes down to it, just the chances that team was just, I don't know, not a whole lot there for him. But you mentioned they did get the job done. I thought Willie was really good tonight. Probably could add 4 or 5.
Yeah, he was really good tonight. And I think it's nice to see a guy that, I don't know what any of these guys did on their break. I didn't see any. Did you see any posts from Willie Nylander? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he had one series of posts, and that he was either in Toronto or New York, or I probably think it was Toronto. He was just like hanging with his dog on the beach.
Oh, nice. So it's nice that one of the guys that you would, maybe I wouldn't say be worried about coming out of a break, but a guy that you would necessarily consider to be one of the guys that may take the break and enjoy it a bit more, to have him come out and be shot out of a cannon is an awesome positive sign for just him as a hockey player to me.
Yeah.
Like, this is such a vintage game where, last year or 2 years ago, he would be an absolute dog and we'd be like, oh, Willie really enjoyed the break. And he just was his consistent self again, right? Like, just fast
breakaways, dangling guys. He really should have put a bunch home tonight. So yeah, you're right. That is sort of all a part of the development of Nylander, is being there so consistently.
So I just wanted to mention that I said that they look like an AHL team. They look like an AHL team before they stepped on the ice with those jerseys. Like, are those the Lake Erie Monsters that are coming out of there? Those jerseys are horrendous. Yeah. They are so bad. Like, the Jackets in general have a pretty bad group of sweaters, but like their home normal ones are okay. Like, they're not terrible, but those ones look like a legitimate Walmart knockoff. And you come out, you're the worst team in the league. You look like that. Like, they were.
The worst part is you've been handed red, white, and blue.
I know.
Like, Montreal Canadiens, New York Rangers, like, other teams do big things if you're going to go red, white, and blue.
I know.
Yeah, no, that ain't exactly it.
So what'd you think of the guy that everybody is hot to trot to trade a first-round pick for in Gavrikov?
I actually am glad you brought this up, because I heard some of your comments before the game, at intermission.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't say I loved him.
You didn't like him at all, right?
Well, I thought a lot of the Leafs, listen, the Jackets rot. Like, they are 10 out of 10 bad. So I'm not going to say that him coming over to a better system, better coaching, better players around him, he couldn't be a fit. Yeah. But like, a lot of the times they were hemmed in. Old Four was chugging behind the net there, trying to dig a puck out. So I didn't think it was a positive performance for if he's scouting.
I would say, two different angles on it. Like, one is that I thought he played bad, but the other thing is that I can see that he is big and he skates pretty well.
Very big.
Yeah. And he skates pretty well. And in the process of taking penalties, he demonstrated a little something that you want here in Toronto. And so,
oh my God, are you his agent?
But there was pieces of me that was like, I recognize that guy had a dog of a game.
Yes.
I also could see why he would be appealing to the Toronto Maple Leafs, assuming he makes some better decisions, which it sounds like from talking to Portsline today, he typically does make better decisions. He called him a polished pro or something like that.
But it kind of reminded me of, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but when the Leafs, there's all the rumors about Severson from the Devils.
Yeah.
And then they played against the Leafs a couple times in a row, and he had
stunk.
Two of the worst games of anybody's life. Like, I'm pretty sure he put one in his own net.
There was a 2-on-1 where he just like abandoned defending, left.
And everyone's like, oh, this is the guy. So listen, I like the idea of Gavrikov, and I'm not a professional scout. I'm not pouring over the tape. I'm not at every single one of his games. I'm not the guy that's looking at it. But
first impression wasn't wow.
From the couch, with a glass of wine watching the game, I probably wasn't like, this guy is jumping off the page to me here. I wouldn't say.
He's going to fix the issues here in Toronto. I think the ultimate taking the Toronto Maple Leafs for granted moment of our podcast tonight is making it this far into it, not mentioning Mitch Marner and John Tavares. Marner, I mean, the vision that he demonstrated on 2 goals tonight was maybe McDavid sees it.
So do we have that goal? Do we have that goal, sis? The first one that they scored?
First one at Tavares. Like, that's elite vision. You tweeted the screenshot of, like, it's Marner in the slot with no one around him to shoot. It's Willie cocked it open for a 1T, and it's the other guy who gets the pill.
Like, he is absolutely like, look at this defensive coverage. So, like, let's just leave him open. Oh, not even
that
here.
Riley walking the line's nice too, by the way.
But when he comes here, like, where is everybody?
That's you could ask yourself that so many times about Columbus tonight. Where are your people? Like the one there where Bunting had an open net and didn't shoot it. Marner had an open net and didn't shoot it. I was watching their players. Like, pick someone. Grab a guy.
So, yeah, that's just why the Leafs are good and the Columbus Blue Jackets are bad, because they have 3, and I mean, they don't even have their best guy, but they have 3 unbelievably elite NHL players now. Like, Willie has talked himself. He's in the elite in the league. Look at that pass. And that finish is no slouch either, to be able to deft touch. Yeah, deft touch upstairs. But, like, they just have these guys that go, when you're going up against a borderline AHL team, it's just not a fair fight. Like,
well,
how
it's
many...
not, and you don't, if you're the Leafs, you don't need to outplay them.
No.
You just, if you get the same amount of chances as them, your elite players are going to convert a couple they don't. Like, you need to not get outplayed, sure, but by and large, yeah. And then the drop pass to Tavares, no look in traffic, to know where Tavares had basically stopped. These are 2 of the goals tonight that Tavares scored that he probably doesn't score on, without being on Marner's line. Like, his numbers look different at the end of the year because he played with Willie all year. Willie's a great player, but he doesn't see it like this.
No, and the thing with Tavares that we always talk about is just how in the 1-of-1 he is, and the hash marks down. Like, he is, there are few men on planet Earth that are as lethal at that as he is when he gets in that area. And Marner always, remember that stat that you had, that the passes to the slot?
Yeah, Marner is first or second in the league.
Like, he passed the puck to the slot so well, and John Tavares near the slot. It's a very, very good combination. So be interested to see what they do when Matthews comes back, if they stick with that. But, like, that line playing together tonight must just be such a nice, these guys have to go through these grinds and play these, like, hard teams. Yeah. And even at, like, the elite level, it must be nice just to know there's a point night coming up.
I actually,
Go ahead. Well, go ahead.
I was going to see if I could find it, but it might be a little bit of a hassle. So I had Sportsnet Stats send me something a while ago because I was on time spent leading, time spent tied, and time spent trailing on the season. Because I have a theory that, like, if you play enough games like this where you're leading, it's not the same stress on your body as it is when you're chasing the game or you're tied. Like, there's a relaxation. And you can get through games. If you get a lead early in a couple of games, you can get through a couple of games where it doesn't feel like you've been through the ringer. I don't, they didn't get a big lead early, but I'm pretty sure they felt comfortable for 50 minutes tonight after that first Tavares goal.
Yeah. At one point, the shots were like 27-11. Like,
so towards the end, relax.
Towards the end of that second period, I think they got a power play. They got a few shots on it. They kind of had some momentum, but it was never really a game. I will say that, I guess we should probably we've gotten 15 or 16 minutes into this, and we haven't mentioned the goaltender getting a shutout. Yeah. I wouldn't say it was the highest stress evening for him, but I think he did end up making maybe 4 or 5 really nice saves.
For sure.
There was a nice blocker save off the rush. I'm not sure who it was on, but, like, this is a nice, like we talked about, I don't know what game it was that he had, where it was a nice starting goalie win, where you just put your starter in there against a crappy team. He makes a few good saves for you. He's solid. He's not swimming around in the net, and he just looked like an NHL starting goalie, and that's exactly what the Leafs need. Like, that's my only real takeaway on it.
And really encouraging, too, I think, coming out of the break, Samsonov was another guy who, let's be honest, his reputation was that off the ice was an issue in Washington. And maybe it was not working out enough. Maybe it was hanging out with Kuznetsov and the boys running deep into the night, whatever it was.
Yes.
This guy came out of the break and looked sharp. He looked great. not too active, pretty patient. So yeah, encouraging stuff for the Leafs.
Yeah, Keefe mentioned it yesterday that he was on the ice, I think 2 days early, or maybe on Wednesday or whatever. And
really?
You're allowed to do that as long as there's no coaches around.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about, which is
sounds like captain's practices in university. That's a thing. It's weird.
God, it's so stupid, these rules. It's like, anyways, I don't need to get into the ins and outs of the CBA and these rules about like practicing. It's like, oh, the hockey players can't go on the ice in the middle of an NHL season with their coach around. It's like,
I know.
Oh my God, those monsters. It's like, oh, they flew out an hour early, $100,000. It's just these things they have are so stupid. But I think that speaks to it. The fact that he's on the ice during the bye week and he's coming out, he's looking sharp. Like I was impressed with that start, and I'm interested to see what they're going to get from Wall tomorrow.
Well, yeah, it's got to be Wool, right?
Well, I think you're playing so little hockey and you've been off for a week. I think if there was ever a time you were going to go with your starter back to back, it could be this. But at the same time, he blows out his knee in that game tomorrow. You never, ever forgive yourself, ever. So that you probably just go to
such an
Wall.
easy chance if you want to get Wool games and reward him for his season. And frankly, you don't know what you got in Murray right now.
No.
Like, you want to have some sense that Wool can go in and at least if you play well enough, he can get you the win.
Yeah.
That seems like the game to do it. And then what's the schedule after this? It's Chicago, Montreal, Chicago, I think.
It goes, is it 2 Chicagos?
I hope not.
No, I think it goes Columbus today, and then Chicago, Montreal, and then I want to say Buffalo on the 21st. Am I too far ahead here? I don't know. It's a bunch of bad teams.
Yeah.
So this month is
everyone's going to get some go.
And they are settled in their spot. Like, where they're going to be. They're going to be playing Tampa in the first round. But this is an important stretch to stay in the home ice advantage spot.
Yeah.
And listen, like, you could go on a 4 or 5 or 6 game rip. Boston drops a couple, and then they're starting to think about it a little bit. Like, they're not gonna catch them, but at least make them think about you for a week.
Yeah.
Like, at least be like, oh my God, they're getting hot. Like, hey, maybe they are gonna catch us. At least make them think.
Yeah. No, I agree. All you do, control the, what Marner and Tavares come on our show and say? You just control. Control.
He said a lot of things.
That was the comment that I called that he would say when I asked him a question.
Yes,
he did say directly. I think the issue then is going to be, how do you spread around the starts? Because you want Samsonov to stay busy. You want to get Wool in. You're going to get Murray in back when he's able to.
Who knows when that is?
Yeah, so you're going to get 3 guys in net probably over the next 2 weeks. So I don't know.
So I have a couple tweets that I sent out, and I asked for a couple things. This one is from a guy with a Columbus Blue Jackets avatar on his Twitter, which is just tough bounce, buddy. He said, "Thanks, Sam. Long-time caller, first-time listener." Great line, by the way. Love that. The reverse of usual. I respect that comedy.
Yep.
When Bedard plays for the Jackets next year, should be on a line with Laine and Johnny Hockey. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. No, because those guys are going to drag him down.
Put him with a couple of motivated bodies, will you?
Wait, put him with 2 non-rich guys. Like those guys. I don't want to crap on these guys, but that was pretty bad, man.
Let's talk about Leafs talk. Leafs talk is different than real Kipper and Bourne. We're all just a circle of trust here. There's some guys you can't pay.
Yeah.
Where you just say you can't give certain guys a ton of money or term or whatever. You're not going to get the same player as when they're super motivated.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's the case with Laine or Gaudreau. I'm not saying it, but maybe.
Yes, absolutely. That was not pretty, buddy. I was shocked. You at least expect Gaudreau to pop. The guy was, how many points did he have last year? 110?
What did he score in the All-Star game? He scored every time he touched the puck in the All-Star game.
So, what else did I get here? This is from Jonathan, not going to pronounce your last name. I don't want to, Zygmunt. And we covered this on Real Kipper on Board, but he said, which U.S. team would you like to see Bedard go to? Yeah. And we agreed on Columbus.
Columbus is our team.
They need it bad.
They need it. 1 playoff round they've won in 23 years.
The glory year.
The glory year, as they call it. And I mean, they still sell games out. That place deserves it. Eastern time zone. They get to play, New York Rangers and the Capitals and all these teams that the NHL wants them to play. So I love Lumbus.
So this one's from Thomas Lund. He said, this game reminded me of when a AAA team would play an A team. And I agree. There's just no comparison.
You know what's so brutal, though, is I'm watching it and I'm going, if you're on Columbus, what can you do to stop the Globetrotters? Like, one man is not, and maybe that's the Gaudreau line thing is like, what do you want me to do here, Bourne? Like, I'm standing on my wing. Those guys are running around. Like, how do we stop this? So
dig in,
man. Like, it's going to be a long haul. Make it to summer.
And last one, before we go here, from This Team is Haunted on Twitter, which is very appropriate.
About the Leafs, I assume?
Yes. He says, does Kipper think that 5 times 5 is going to be enough for his favorite player, Pierre Engvall, to sign?
Oh, gross. Gross.
So
I don't know. Kipper's eating warm olives at a bar somewhere. He's not thinking about Engvall.
Over under minutes Kipper watches this game. I'm setting the number at 0.5.
Yeah. Any takes you get on Real Kipper and Bourne on Monday are straight out of Saturday.
100%. So, it's the Super Bowl this weekend. I said it. I know I'm not supposed to say it. Another Pierre Engvall Super Bowl tonight. No trying team.
Bring on
zero
the Blue
physicality.
53.
And you see him. He scores that goal off the tic-tac-toe. Big punch in the glass. I'm like,
free spit.
I'm like, maybe just high five back to the bench. I don't really need that one. Anyways, so I hope everyone listening, that was enough. Like I thought we did pretty well in terms of getting some stuff out of that game. Like I don't know.
Get some fun with it. We'll try again tomorrow. You and Bunk after the game.
No, so I'm off tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm going to an annual cottage with a bunch of fellas for Super Bowl for a couple nights, and then Bunk is off as well. So you guys are in the very capable hands of Brent Gunning and Justin Cuthbert breaking down yet another electrifying Leafs Columbus game. So feel the excitement, the anticipation. My palms are sweaty.
All right. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us on Leafs Talk. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.